my channel. If you're new here, my name is Butang and this is my channel. And if you're a returning subscriber, hello. So today what I'm basically doing is a girl talk, but I'm gonna do it while doing my makeup, and this is in no way a beauty video, so don't focus on that, focus on what I'm saying. But before I start anything, I also do want to just say that anything that I say in this video is obviously my opinion and how I feel, and we obviously live in a very big world and we can't all agree on the same things. So you know, we shouldn't, you know, enforce our opinions on everyone. So if you feel differently, that is okay, and you're allowed to feel that way. So yeah, let's just not battle or, like, you know. And yeah, and some things may seem harsh, but it's really just like the honest truth, honestly. First question is, do girls do girls really know what they want? And you know, I'm not majority girls, but from what I think and what I know, I'm just gonna say yes. But I feel like, you know, with relationships and all these things, a lot of miscommunication happens, and you find that people don't understand what the other wants just because, you know, simply you're not communicating well. And if you were to fix that, everything would go so smoothly. Like, obviously there'll be ups and downs, but I feel like communication is a very big solution to things, to matters, you know. We may be a bit indecisive at times, but we definitely know what we want. I know what I want. But it also depends on what context this question, but I know what I want. I know my friends know what they want. We all know what we want. Second question is losing your virginity. I'm actually gonna like talk about this at the end, like, because always trying to please a boy. So this one is a tough one because you never even realize, I feel like it, well, in my case, you don't realize that you're doing it until, I don't know, until something unblind, like something just like wakes you up from this little dream of yours. So it's like, you just gotta realize your worth and what you deserve and what you went into that situation expecting, I guess, wanting something. And if you're not getting what you want, then why are you there, you know? And I'm just gonna say leave that person, because they're obviously, if you're constantly pleasing, but like, are they pleasing you as well? Like, are they doing what you ask for and what you want? Like, I really, but in the way that I'm interpreting this question, it's like, just go. I feel like you can find better somewhere. You can get the effort that you want from a better person that treats you better. And if you're constantly gonna keep trying to please this person when you're not getting your cup filled, it's like, what's the point, you know? And before things get a little bit too emotional, to the point where you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm so attached to this person, and I realize that they're not treating me well, but I am so attached, you know? So I would say just like leave once you realize that you're just putting in too much and you're not getting anything back. Something that helped me when I was in a situation similar to this is, as petty as it may sound, I wrote like a pros and cons list, where I was like, you know what, let me write down how this person makes me feel, and if it's a good feeling, I'll put it under pros, and if it's a bad feeling, I'll put it under cons. So it's like you make up this list, and obviously I feel like the results will tell you what you should do, like what you get from this list. Like, you know, if cons outweigh, if the good outweighs the bad, then, you know, you can stick around. And if the bad outweighs the good, then if you know what you're worth, then it's not as simple as I may be putting it or I may be saying it is, but sometimes you just gotta do it for yourself. Like, you gotta make it simple for your own sanity and your own mental health. Yeah, because men out here, you know, they be selfish, you know, so you also gotta be selfish sometimes. No commitment but the man wants you. Depends. Communication, you know. If you also don't want commitment and you want him, like, go for it. But if you want commitment but they're like kind of like leading you on, saying, oh no, I'm not ready for a relationship right now, maybe like, you know, I'm not ready for one, but like I like you very much and I would like to still have you in my life, blah, blah. Leave, because you want something serious and they're clearly not up for that, and I bet you they're not gonna change. Honey, walk out of there. Obviously, like I'm saying, communication is key, guys. Like, in anything, like in situationships, in relationships, in we're still figuring it out or we don't want to label it or whatever, communication is key. Even with your like side booty. You can't just communicate with vibes, you know, because sometimes your vibe calculator is off. That's being a fuck girl. If you wanna be a fuck girl, be a fuck girl, but don't go out, don't be leading people on, you know. Don't be breaking hearts out here. Just be on the streets if you wanna be on them streets. There's nothing wrong with being on them streets, but I'm just saying, if you want to be on them streets, don't drag someone who, you know, who's about feelings down with you, because obviously that would be sore. You know, man, being a fuck. If you want to be a fuckle, be a fuckle. If you feel like you're not ready for commitments, do it. Unless I have a different definition of fuckle. I just feel like a fuck. But what is a fuck boy? Ugh, so a fuck girl. You know, I really wished I'd had a male counterpart to be here with me. And I had one for like a few days and then he ghosted me. So it's like, I just wish like a man could maybe like have an opinion on this, because I may have an opinion on a fuckboy but not really fuckers, because I haven't really encountered one. But a man possibly could have. Especially, and when I'm talking, guys, I'm really going to be referring to like heterosexual relationships, but that's just to make conversation easy. I'm not actually just referring to heterosexual couples. I hope I'm making sense. Like, this may apply to people of same-sex relationships, anything. It just, I feel like it's just easy to say he and she for explanation purposes, but that is totally not limited to that. Period hacks. So when it comes to periods, I'm a bit rusty. So this is also a topic that's gonna come up about later, but I have been on birth control for 3 years now, I think. I'm with it. But I've been on birth control for 2 years. It's actually not 3. But so basically, the reason I went on birth control was because I was having really bad period cramps. I never had those before. Like, from when I first got my period, I never had period pains, to be honest. I always just had a period. And all of a sudden, they started getting hectic. I started getting pains and it was super bad. And my mom was like, "You going on birth control?" And I was like, "Cool beans, mommy." And then mom took me to the clinic and I got the injection. But anyways, what was my biggest like hack for periods, so when I still had my period, was I had a very heavy flow. Honestly, like, I went on my period for 2 to 3 days, but it will literally be like the heaviest, especially on the first like day / night. It would literally be like the heaviest period, and I would always bleed through a pad, even if it's like the night pads, like the long big ones. I'd always bleed through them. So if you're a person that doesn't mind menstrual cups, I'll definitely recommend those. And if you're a person that also doesn't mind tampons, I would recommend those because they can last you throughout the night. You don't have to like wake up in the middle of the night to go change a pad, you know. Like, what was my point here? So a hack I would recommend if you have a heavy period like I did is obviously using the things that I mentioned, either a tampon and a pad at the same time so that you don't bleed through the night. I mean, you don't bleed like onto your bed, whatever. And then, or a menstrual cup. I feel like if I still had periods, I'd literally be on the menstrual cup because I hate tampons and pads because they're just disgusting, you know? Sexuality and masturbation. Go with your gut. Go with that gut of yours, to be honest. Like, okay, let's talk about sexuality. So masturbation is the key to like, even if like, obviously this is if masturbation is the key to finding out like your sexuality and like your sexual pleasure centers, whatever. So, but let's talk about sexuality like in terms of who you're attracted to sexually. Yeah, this one's a hectic one for me. Honestly, I didn't know about sexuality when I was little. I'm just gonna be honest. Like, I didn't know you could get gay people. I knew you could get gay people, but I didn't know what it meant. Like, obviously we also Senzo and Jason on Generations, like, it was a taboo thing to see two men with each other, but it was never explained to me. So I even went into high school with this kind of, you know, I don't want to say I was ignorant, but I don't know, yeah, it was just like the way I was raised. Those kind of topics were avoided at that age. So I went into high school not really knowing or not really being aware of such. So people would literally say I was a homophobe, but I feel like once someone educated me and explained it to me, then I understood and also somehow found myself in the education and being open-minded, you know. So basically what I was saying is sexuality is just something that, you see, the thing is, from a young age I was attracted to my best friend this one time and we lived next door to each other, and like, I just vaguely remember, I have very bad memory, but I remember us doing things and me being happy about doing these things with her, but I didn't know I was gay. It was just like, oh my gosh, yes, like, yes. But it was, we were kids as well, so it's like, oh no, we're being naughty. But anyways, I'll just say like, what's the point? But anyway, sexuality, blah 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 blah. You know, if you know, you'll know. Because for some odd reason my camera stopped recording. I don't know why. But I was still talking about sexuality and masturbation. But I was just saying that once I was educated, it was like my mind opened up, and I actually realized that I was gay. I am a big fan of masturbation, and I'm a big fan of sexuality, and masturbation being the key. When I say sexuality, I also mean like sexuality, but when I say masturbation being the key to sexuality, I mean masturbation being the key to like your sexual like freedom, your sexual liberation, your sexual, you know, that. We will have a part 2 where we get a male to actually answer these questions, but this question is, does size matter? And I don't have enough experience in this field to actually say it does or it doesn't, but I would say that it doesn't, honestly, but it also depends on the scale we're working on, you know. This now, there are different ways to please a woman, so if the size doesn't make up, you know, for a certain, you know, if the size isn't, then you can make up for that in other areas. So that's why I think knowing yourself is very good, because then you can guide your partner, because I'm all about communication. So if you're feeling comfortable to be doing things with someone, you should also feel comfortable to communicate your pleasure centers with them and what you like and what you don't like with them. So yeah, that's what I would say. I don't think it matters, but I've never been in a situation where I'm like, whoa, size does matter, you know. I don't think it does, because a woman's organ, it's like an ocean, you know. They're very different. In insecurities, self-love and confidence. So everyone has insecurities, you know, and I really don't know, but I would say love yourself, affirm yourself, and tell yourself that you're enough, so that you start feeling secure about yourself. And I know that some insecurities don't just go away easily or like, you know, overnight, but you know, I feel like if you keep preaching something to yourself, you will believe it. So if you wake up in the morning, you look at yourself and you're like, you are enough, you are a badass bitch, you are beautiful, you are, you know, it'll start, and you actually take it in, you actually believe it, it'll reflect in your daily life, you know. In terms of self-love, oh, this one is a hectic one, but I will also say the same about it. It's always going to be a battle. It will never be easy. Some days will be better than others, some days will be harder than others, you know. It's just a constant ka-chow-chow, but affirming yourself really works wonders. I'm literally like, that's all I can really speak for, because that's what I've experienced. But it's never easy, it's never going to be easy, but if you keep waking up and trying every single day, there'll be good days where you feel on top of the world, but there'll also be bad days, you know. So it's like constant will stop you. And when you walk like that bad bitch you told yourself you are in the mirror that morning. Like, let's say you have a meeting or you have whatever, and you look in the mirror and you're like, B, you're a bad bitch, and you are literally going to reflect that bad bitch energy that day. I promise you. You look at yourself, you're like, I feel good, I'm dressed good, I smell good, I'm a bad bitch, I'm gonna kill it. That confidence is literally gonna come through, and you're literally gonna embody a bad bitch the entire day. Is it okay to date a friend's ex? Guys, you can date my ex even if you're my friend, but it depends on the time frame sensitivity, you know. There's you dating my ex a month after we break up. Now that's not allowable, that's not tolerable. But if you date my ex after like a year after we broke up, that's fine. I don't want to be the one standing in your way of finding your soulmate. Like, what if that's your soulmate, guys, and I'm just like being a bitch, like, no, you can't date that man, you can't date that person, they're my ex, blah blah blah. Like, no, I'm not like that. If you want a piece of that meat, go get that meat, and I won't be spicy about it. Like, that's one thing about me. I will not be bitchy about you dating my ex. No, I will wish you the best. I obviously didn't end up with them for a reason, so why should I be in the way of finding someone else? And I understand that people are a bit iffy about this one, but I honestly do not mind. But like, yeah, it really depends on the time frame. Like, if it's like a year, like, it's okay. But if it's like a month, like, were you looking at us both, like, when we were dating, you're just like, can they break up so I can be with him? Like, that's not what a friend does. But if it's like a year down the line and you guys like got closer, like a, you know, let's say like I broke up with him in January, and then you guys like in June start talking and things are clicking. By October you're like, okay, we want to get things, you know, going. I'd be like, cool, that's fine, you know. And then birth control. So I said I would talk about this later, obviously. I know this is a topic that I could literally debate with people about for hours, because women's bodies are different. So obviously not every one reacts the same to birth control. Not everyone has, you know, the same experiences to birth control and whatever. So what I've been on is Depo-Provera, and I know people on Twitter hate it, but I love it. It's been working for me for 2 years now, like I said. And what I do know is that what most people complain about, they say it makes you infertile, which is actually misinformation. I actually haven't gotten any side effects except weight gain, but at that time, honestly, I don't even know if it was the Depot or was the way I was eating. I experienced that was a side effect, may have been spotting for like the first month or two, and it wouldn't be heavy spotting. It would literally just be like, just wear a panty liner every day just in case something happens, and it would happen like maybe once a week or maybe even twice a week, but it stopped after a month. I don't really remember if it was a month or two, but it stopped eventually. And I only get the shot once every 3 months or once every 12 weeks, and yeah, no baby so far. Like, my mom had been on it when she was my age, and she told me about her experiences, and I'm kind of going through what she went through. Well, I went through what she went through when she was on it. So it's like, you know, maybe if your parents are open to talking about things like birth control, maybe ask them like, Mom, what birth control were you on when you were my age? They'll be like, oh, I was on this, and how did it treat you, Mom? Treated me so well or so bad. Then you just have some sort of, you know, gauge on what could happen. Losing your virginity. This is a hectic topic for me because I don't like talking about this type of things, especially in such a public like space. I don't mind talking about it with my friends, but in such a public manner, it's like a bit, you know, nerve-wracking because there are lots of opinions out there, and you know, some may not be similar to mine. And I grew up in a family where, well, when I was young, my mom is more chilled now. When I was young, no one really talked about intercourse. So it's like, I couldn't even say the word sex until like last year. So it was like quite a taboo thing. And then my mom did like a cherry on top by taking me to a all girls, it wasn't Catholic, what was it again, Anglican school. So it was like, it was filled with obviously very conservative opinions where sex was so taboo, no one wanted to talk about it, and it was just like very, you know, it was a very frowned upon thing. I would just say communication. Like I said, communication is a very big factor, guys. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. First of all, I feel like you need to be ready for doing such things. You need to be ready. That's literally all I can say, because if you're not ready, then everything's just not gonna be nice, and it's not gonna feel right, and you're just gonna probably regret it or just not feel good about doing it, or you know, all that. And during the act, you need to be very comfortable, and you need to be very open as well with the person that you're with, because if you're not comfortable, then you're definitely going to be tense, and you're going to be just, you know, Dr. Zillering over. So I would really recommend that you are super comfortable with the person that you're with. I personally decided I did not want to do it with a person who I am emotionally attached to, honestly, like a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever. Oh shit, this is where it gets important. Actually, I feel like I should speak about it in terms of with a woman and with a man, because those are different things. You know, there's penetration and there's non-penetrative, you know, intercourse. So I hope you guys understand. So if it's like with someone like a friend, it's like they're just gonna be your friend. You know, you're gonna have good vibes the entire time. You may drift apart, it'll be fine. You won't regret anything. At least it's not like on bad terms or like with bad vibes. Whereas with a boyfriend, you can part with a boyfriend on any term. He could have cheated. He could have died. He could have just, you could have grown apart. You could have cheated. Because if it's your first time, you're gonna want to have to explain some things sometimes, because, you know, when the thing enters the thing, it's like sometimes it's a bit like, whoa. This is when things get deep. I think virginity, well, obviously this is why I also just didn't care about like, oh my gosh, I need to wait till marriage. And I'm not shaming people that do want to do that. But I just don't believe in virginity being where your value lies. Yeah, I just think women are way more than what their vaginas can offer. And yeah, you know, I don't go around looking at a man and being like, oh my gosh, if he's been with other women, he's just not worthy anymore, you know. So I don't understand why men should look at women like that. Also, don't be afraid to be kinky. Stop before this becomes sex ed, because I actually low-key want to be a sex ed teacher. You know, it's like you unleash a beast, you know. And that's kind of what happened. And at the time I also had a girlfriend, and you know, and things were just great. We were both emotionally very into each other and physically and all of that. So it's just like we explored and did, you know, experimented things together. And I'm very grateful for those experiences. But I would suggest that also with a woman, it's someone that you're comfortable with, someone that you can communicate with. And because I feel like with a woman there actually needs to be not more communication. No, I feel like there needs to be more communication with a man than a woman, because the woman is focused on that brilliant part of the organ, but with a man it's like they're focused on you know, in both situations just do what you're comfortable with, and like I said, communicate. That's all. That's how I'm gonna end it actually, because I feel like I'm just gonna get into too much detail and people are just gonna think, oh my gosh, this girl is the weirdest thing ever. But oh my gosh, messages. Just be comfortable. Be comfortable with whoever you're with, and yeah. I think that wraps up the video. But I also do want to find a male person that I can do maybe like a part 2 with, where like there's like both a male opinion and a female opinion, because really I feel like that's important. I can't just be saying men are fuckboys, men are liars, but men aren't here to like defend themselves, you know. I believe in equality. But anyways guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this video and learned from it and took some, you know, anything that you needed help with or advice with. I hope you took it in, and you know, my word may not be like, you know, like the straight thing to go with, but at least, you know, there was some sort of guidance that I gave. And like I said again, I'm not meaning to offend anyone, and obviously if you believe in different things, that is okay. And I really hope that I may have mumbled a bit, but just know that like when I get super